Hello, today I have printed off a few images of boulders, and oh my golly, don't you just love a boulder? I mean, do you? I definitely do. These are images I took myself years ago when I visited Brimham Rocks in Yorkshire, which is just one of the most intriguing and exciting places. If you love boulders. I love how so many of these rocks have shapes which suggest personalities. This one completely reminds me of that tortoise, Grandmaster Oogway in Kung Fu Panda. Can you see it? And this one has a definite doggy head shape going on. As Donkey in Shrek says, "I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder." Who'd have thought we'd get not one but two Naughty's animation references in one video? And you cannot tell me that this one does not have two eyes and a mouth. It is absolutely joyful. And this is the one I'm going to be focusing on for my arty challenge today, because we're going to try and create a version of this big cute rock with just one letter stamp. Yup, that's what I said. We're going to grab just one of these little whatsits and an ink pad and then essentially try to draw with it. I'm thinking of using the letter B for Brimham, so I'm just noodling around trying to find it. Any minute now I will come across it. I am so close. Ta-da! Okay, I have my green ink pad at the ready, a piece of cartridge paper and a head full of... Alrighty then, this is going to be so fun. Let's rock this stamp. Or, stamp this rock. Okay, I'm just going to make this first bit very easy on myself and trace the basic outline shapes of the rock. What can I say? I'm feeling shortcutty today. This paper is thin enough that I can just about see through it, so wibbly dibbly wobbly bobs, scribbly bibs, and done. Now I can do a few sketchy bits to give myself an idea of where the main shapes and shadows will go. And sure, if I were doing this challenge in a stricter way, I wouldn't have sketched in my outlines but gone straight in with the stamp and hoped for the best. But I didn't fancy giving us all of the rules today. Let's just have the one and find the fun. And if you're wondering about all of this with a big old why, well, for one, this is a challenge which is very simple in concept but rather trickier in practice. This is a good combo because it's easy enough to jump on into, but it stretches creative conundrum solving the further along that we go. And, number two, it feels slightly ridiculous and that it's probably going to come out looking pretty random. And this motivates me because I love ridiculous things. If it comes out funny, great, I can have a giggle as I go. But I also get to find out how I can sway the results. I am a person who just enjoys giving something a go to see if I can do it. The more you try curious creative things, the more confidence you build for thinking that you can totally figure out something as you go. And that even if it's not amazing, it doesn't matter. So I've started with the eyes. Art thou underwhelmed? Me too, a bit, but we've only just started. There's time to get more whelmed. My method at this early point, if we can even say that I have one here, is to plop the stamp onto the ink and then plop the stamp onto the paper. I know, so unique. I tend to get only one good clear B print each time, so then I just press in as much extra faintness as possible in rapid stampy motions. Tap, tap, tap goes my stamp as I try to build up some colour in all of the darkest, shadowy areas of this rock. As I go along, I'm trying to remember to swivel my stamp around in my fingers so that the B shape isn't always the same way up. That's just my own artistic choice. I wanted it to all feel a bit more mushy and organic. If I had used the B always upright, I think it would have given a different feeling, perhaps of more structure or order. What do you think? I find it interesting how even such tiny seeming moments of choice like this can flip an artwork's direction. What would you have chosen to do? There's a ghostliness about this rock right now, ain't there? A vacancy in the expression that just goes right on through you. I think it's fair to say that this is both a slow process, but also with elements of speed. Yeah, weird. Because I'm tapping fast, but building slow. After about 10 minutes real time, this is where we're at. Yep. It's a bit odd for sure, but also I do see potential. And as long as you can see that nebulous sing-song, there's reason to carry on. Side note, if there is a part of you looking at this stamp rock creation right now and thinking, shape-wise, Gemma, is it not a bit poo emoji? Yeah, I think it is. Despite my fingers getting ever more crampy as I hold onto this tiny stamp, there is something rather meditative about this process. The repetitive tap-taps on the surface, the back and forth between the ink pad and the paper. My mind is able to sit back as it ponders the puzzle, but my hands just keep on going. I just keep stamping away, even when I'm not too sure whether I'm heading in the right direction. The further along I go, the more I start to stray from the standard overhead stamping action. I try to explore different textures by manoeuvring the stamp slightly differently. As I try to add in the foliage at the side, which should have a different feeling to the rock surfaces, I start lightly scrumbling the stamp, keeping it in contact with the paper and moving it around. It creates soft, dusty, scritchy marks which I'm very happy about as they feel more like wispy leaves. And for the bushes at the bottom, I find loading as much ink onto the stamp as I can and then wiping it in quick downward motions creates really lovely pairs of marks which look leafy too. I discover that I can utilise the edge of the stamp by rolling it along the surface. Being so small to hold, it's hard to control the direction and length of each line, but that adds to the natural rocky vibes. I use this technique as a way to outline the edges of the rocks too, which is super pleasing. I drop the stamp so many times trying to do this rolling method though. These little stamps are little terrors to grip onto. I also try dashing the edge of the stamp in rapid bursts to get tiny scratches, though this doesn't really feel that noticeable here amongst so much other noise. I return to rubbing the stamp across the surface as I try to fill in some lighter shading, and now I'm getting less cautious about how hard I press as I do it. My hands are learning how little ink transfers each time on this stamp, so knows now how much I can wiggle it about to get the most away from it. I actually first thought about trying to create an artwork just using one stamp when I was making my latest Skillshare class. It's a 7-day challenge class about exploring creative limitations. The simplest of restrictions can bring about so many sparks of ideas, so they're really fun to use when creativity is feeling a bit harder to activate. This idea sprang from the limiting tools lesson. If you'd like to explore more creative limitations, do hop on over to Skillshare and check out the class. There's a link in the description, or you can scan the code on screen. And if you're new to Skillshare, these links will give you a 1-month free trial. It's a platform full of so many interesting classes, so in your trial, you can go into full-on adventure mode. Thank you for considering it. Your support means such a lot to me. I think in total, this art adventure took me about 50 minutes, and it felt like the contrasts and textures built up slowly but surely with every tiny stamp. For a lot of the time, I wasn't sure if it would end up looking like anything much, but actually, I'm really happy with the end result. I think I managed to get some nice contrasts. If I'd worked on it longer, I could perhaps have made them a bit subtler in how they transition and sit beside each other, but my fingers were definitely yearning for a break. I really love some of the textures I found. These leafy bushes are a favourite for sure, and the rolly dark lines bring me so much joy. What do you reckon? Would you try to create an art this way? If you could only use one tool to create with, what would challenge you? What would you choose? Let me know in the comments. I'm so curious because pretty much anything can be used as an art tool when we set our minds to it. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do consider hitting the like or the hype buttons, as they really do help this little channel find its folks. I am so happy it found you, and I hope we'll meet up again in the next video. Stay curious, keep making happy, and I will see you next time.